There is one key to building a $100,000 net worth from scratch. Our #1 video so far is how I built a $100,000 net worth by age 25. It has our most views, which means it has impacted the most people. If you haven't seen it, check it out, the link in description. As Americans, we are born into a culture unbelievably backwards when it comes to the idolization of material possessions over almost anything. I see this in how I go about my daily life, but even more so how I used to go about my daily life before I realized that I needed to change my mindset completely to overcome these things that are just drilled into us from the time we're kids. I see this so much in my daily life today, but I used to practice it even more before I decided to completely go against what I learned and all of the judgments that were placed into my head when I was a kid. We were all placed with a standard of how to live, how to be, and things to own when we were growing up. The core of the problem is that the savings rate in the United States is way too low and Americans do not save enough money for a rainy day. Over the last 5 years, the personal savings rate in the United States has hovered somewhere between 5 and 10%. So for every $1,000 that comes in, Americans spend an average of $900 to $950. But the real problem is that excessive spending has been labeled as things that are out of your control, things that just come up, things that you have to pay for and you don't have a choice. And while some of that is true, you have to broaden the scope of what is in your control to own your savings rate and change your financial future. My biggest mindset shift was, what could I control? And the #1 thing you can control is your savings rate, the amount you save of what you bring in. So you really have to change the thought of what can you control. Your savings rate is the #1 thing you can control that will lead to your first $100,000 net worth. I stuck to 7 ways to own my savings rate in the journey to 100,000, and today I am going to share all 7 of the methodologies that I practice and beat into my head to make it happen. #1 is to pay yourself first, and this is paying homage to my favorite book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It's a classic. It's almost cliche to have this on a personal finance channel. Paying yourself first is focusing on not how much room you have, but how much can you save for yourself? How much can you pay yourself that month? This whole time, I've targeted 50 to 55% as my savings rate on a monthly basis. #2, stop looking around. It's no secret, we live in a look at me society in which you can get on social media and compare vacations, weekend trips, clothing, cars, houses, anything with your peers. Couple this with the increased downward pressure of increasingly advanced marketing schemes and algorithms that are forced to squeeze every last bit out of your monthly income out of you. When I decided to go for 100,000 right out of the gate out of college in the summer of 2016, I had to learn how to put blinders on to materialism, which runs rampant in America and is the one thing that will prevent you from getting anywhere close to this goal. Once I read enough and learned enough throughout 2016 and 2017 to understand how skewed my perception was of where my money was going, that really helped me to take the first step. #3 is you are your habits. The old adage of you are what you eat had me thinking about the habits that you practice on a daily basis and how that leads to your personal finances. Sloppy habits across multiple areas of your life will lead to sloppy habits with your personal finances. To tighten up your personal finances, you have to lead a life and where you're always chasing bettering yourself spiritually, physically, and mentally, and you will see that effect. You don't want to hear #4, and I'm going to sound extreme, but #4 is a reward, not the norm. To increase your savings percentage in a world where I was making $3,000 to $3,600 per month, I had to view all of life's luxuries as a reward, not the norm. All the way down to eating takeout, buying new clothes, going to watch a movie, anything of that nature, as extreme as it sounds, I had to view that as something that I earned. So when I wanted that takeout or that pizza on Monday night, I found a way to tell myself that I hadn't earned it yet. And I needed to ask myself again on Thursday or Friday if I'd put in enough work that week and made enough tough financial decisions to where I have earned that pizza, even if it was $8 or $9 from Domino's. I just don't think most of y'all are willing to do that, and it is crucial. #5, dial in, cut out any unnecessary spending. I went extreme. Thankfully, I'm not there now. But I used to not instant transfer from Venmo or Cash App because they cost 3% on the dollar or whatever it is. I went a whole year without purchasing clothes. I would take drives as long as it was within 12 hours instead of buying a plane ticket. I didn't buy water bottles. I constantly filled up just a regular Nalgene water bottle. And just so many little things that I did, even though people will tell you like, it doesn't matter, just buy a coffee, whatever. For me, it was about the mindset, because making those small decisions could help me make the bigger decisions on a monthly basis to increase the savings rate, the bottom line. I meal prepped for an entire year for lunch and dinner. I rented below my means. Anything I could do to squeeze a dollar. Number 6 is protect your energy, and you will find one of the most awesome side effects of getting this serious about a personal finance goal is that you learn to block out a lot of noise and you focus on interacting with people and activities that only fill you up, because you don't want to hear anything besides what you're chasing. It serves you no good, and it makes it even more painful. It provides an overwhelming sense of clarity. In 2016 through 2018, this wasn't a big thing on the internet, but it's almost like practicing the dopamine fast with some of the things that I'm reiterating now all these years later. You just want to keep life level. You don't really care about many of the highs because you know that it's just about the time horizon. Number 7 is strive towards minimalism. I researched all the minimalists that were big at that time. I learned how they lived. It wasn't for me. I wasn't prepared to give up absolutely everything I own and pick like a few forks and that type of thing. I'm like, no, that's not going to be it. But I took a lot away from those people. And I would say strive towards minimalism. I think it's a sound way to live, even if you don't want to go to the extreme. Think about what you really need, what you don't need. You know, continue to trade on Facebook Marketplace or a similar exchange if you have something valuable that you're not using anymore. Just small things like that, it's going to help. People swim in circles and they're wondering what's the key to financial success. And I don't have the key to that, because like I said in my original 100K video, a lot of it was white knuckling and just looking out over a vast amount of time and knowing it's not going to happen overnight. But I think that's the harsh reality of most people. Most people don't have a skill set that's going to make them get rich quick or sign a basketball contract and get a signing bonus. That's not the reality. Most college graduates or people, you know, seeking their first job are going to make that 40 to 50 grand, and they're going to have to figure out how to get ahead with that amount of money. And it takes absolutely extreme measures. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you took anything at all away from it. Hit subscribe. We are on the push to 100 subscribers, which I am so pumped about. Let's stay with it. I gotta run.